안녕하세요, Hey Roses. Also apologize for the AC being loud, but I wanted to do another manga review, and I did recently finish the 3 volumes in this series. It is a steamship title, so for those that aren't familiar, steamship titles usually are M or older teen, although this series I'm about to show is rated M. So I figure I'll just go ahead. Like I said, it was only 3 volumes, and it is adored by an elite officer. Could this be love? That's volume 1. That's volume 2. And the least sexual, volume 3. As I have my glasses. So it basically follows the story. What's her name? Nagiko. Nagiko's life basically, suddenly everything falls apart. She loses her job. The person that she was dating broke up with her. So she's kind of, depressed and down, as I feel like most people would in her situation. And then she runs into a childhood friend, Kohei. I have to remember his name because it's very unique to me. But she runs into Kohei, and they're catching up, and he's actually what is his job? Japanese Self-Defense Force. So that's what it was. I knew it was something Self-Defense Force, but I couldn't remember the official title. Anyway, so she runs into him. They start catching up, and he just out of nowhere suddenly proposes marriage. Of course, Nagiko is completely thrown off by this. She's like, wait, what? Where did this come from? And he said, I've had a crush on you since we were young, and I always was jealous of any guy that got to be with you because I would want to be in their shoes and everything like that. So Nagiko, or Nagiko, I is E, Nagiko, sorry, she decides to take his offer. So they do get married, and the relationship kind of blooms from there. Nagiko finds out that he's actually really good in bed. There's a lot of sexy times in those, so be warned. It's rated M for a reason. And I did like the relationship aspect between the two, even before the steamy times. My thing with Nagiko specifically, she self-doubts Kohei every step of the way. She's like, I feel like I'm being a burden to him after having married him and living with him, and he's out there doing all this hard work, and I should get a job to try to pitch in, which, don't get me wrong, commendable. However, the Japanese Self-Defense Force is known for making a lot of money. So he's not really hurting for that, but I can understand where she's coming from. So, I don't know, there were certain aspects of her character I wasn't as big of a fan of. Kohei I loved. Super attentive, super sensitive to her feelings, would always check on her, make sure she's doing okay, and, even helped her when, spoilers, in a later part, her ex comes back into the picture and wants to be with Nagiko again, even though she's married. So he helps her through that situation too, which that is a insane can of worms that I'm not gonna get into, because again, spoilers. But if you don't mind manga with steam scenes in it, and like to see the dynamic of a adult relationship and not just like teens or young adults, this is like adult relationships in every sense of the word, I would recommend this series, honestly. Yes, there is a lot of steamy times, as I keep saying. There's a piece of that keeps coming up and it's driving me nuts. Okay, so as best as I can do. But like I said, if you're looking for an adult relationship, and I mean adult, I would recommend this. There's a lot of side characters that are in this that I loved too. I love how Nagiko helps a friend with her problems and how it works and how things go as far as that is concerned. And it's just her friends and that whole dynamic is like, it's so relatable, but also kind of not in a way. I will say this one last thing first. So again, spoilers. She starts working at, what is her name? Of course, as soon as I open the book, it's Reika. Okay. So yeah, her friend Reika ends up falling for Nagiko's boss. However, they've always considered each other half-siblings because they were, I'm pretty sure it was their half-siblings. Or no, they're step-siblings. That's what it is. They're step-siblings. Anyway, Reika does fall in love with the boss, but he doesn't know if she feels the same way because he also has feelings for Reika, but he doesn't want to ruin the family dynamic. So Nagiko basically is telling her, like, look, I can see the way he looks at you. I know he feels the same way you do. Why don't you just bite the bullet? And eventually a situation arises where it comes to light, and so then they end up getting married, and it's a really cute situation. Like I said, it's relatable in the fact that I feel like there are some step siblings that might feel that way, but then might not want to ruin the family dynamic. But it's also kind of not, because I don't know, just some phrasing that they use throughout the book, which I'm not gonna say. It just, I don't know, I found that a little weird. That's just me personally. But yeah, it is only 3 volumes, like I said, so it's not that long. You'll fly through it. I know I did. But it definitely was an interesting trilogy. And there's a scene where it's showing, like, one of the bonus stories is her, like, her wedding, basically, which is really cute. So yeah, that was my small thoughts on this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I tried not to be super spoilery because I wanted to leave some things out and, up to interpretation. But these were just like my generalized thoughts of the 3. If you have read this, please let me know. I am curious to know your thoughts. Like, did you like Nagiko? Did you not like Nagiko? Did you like Kohei but not like Kohei? Like, I feel like Kohei is kind of a character that's really hard to dislike, personally. I don't know, just the way he's so devoted to Nagiko. Nagiko's ex, on the other hand, is a straight douchebag, but that's something else entirely, so. With all that being said, once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys soon, in another video, another time. Bye, roses. Annyeong.